Welcome back to Moose on the Loose. My name's David. Today we're going over a couple examples here of how the Trudeau government, Justin Trudeau's policies, have absolutely destroyed Canadians' lives regarding real estate and housing. The first example we have is a Microsoft employee who bought a house and now is going bankrupt a year later. The second example is a guy who bought a condo, a pre-sale in Victoria. After the first example, I'll explain why Justin Trudeau is to blame for this, because I realize a lot of people don't understand how he's connected to the housing prices. The first example, it's a woman who bought a house. She bought it over asking. Because she had a good job at Microsoft, she was able to make the payments. The inflation rate started skyrocketing. Because she had a variable interest rate, her payments started skyrocketing and she could no longer afford the house.
One minute you have a great job, a roof over your head, and the next you're facing foreclosure. That's exactly what happened to Vanessa Hartman, who says in less than a year, she lost it all.
They are suing me for the full outstanding mortgage amount.
So because she couldn't make the payments, Scotiabank came back, took the house, and now she's going to be on the hook for what the remaining amount is that the bank can sell her house for. She bid on a house that was listed for $465,000, paid $200,000 over asking, $665,000. She basically got stuck with a house she couldn't sell.
I just feel like I'm trekking through the mud and swimming against the current, and it just feels like a never-ending nightmare.
It all started 2 years ago when she purchased this home in Jasper, Ontario, along the Rideau River.
The housing market was quite ludicrous. There were bidding wars and
listed at $465,000, Vanessa says she ended up paying $200,000 over asking. But just 7 months later, she was laid off from her well-paying job at Microsoft. And at the same time, soaring interest rates nearly doubled her mortgage payments.
The main thing to take away from this story is don't get involved in price wars and bidding wars. It's a bad idea. The only way you should ever be paying over asking on something is if you can put down a significant amount on that house, like 50% of the house, then maybe you want to consider it. But even then, just because something is getting bid up at the current time doesn't mean it's going to hold that value. She paid $200,000 over asking 1 hour south of Ottawa. She basically paid the absolute highest price possible in the biggest inflated market ever in Canadian history.
I said, okay, well, I can't afford this. I started to default on my payments.
She says she tried to sell her house to no avail, handing over the keys to Scotiabank in November. A few months later, she was served with foreclosure papers. Unable to afford a lawyer, she's now awaiting a default judgment as she faces bankruptcy.
You literally go from owning a property and having a job with a great income to being faced with homelessness all in less than a year.
The dominoes are just starting to fall. She's going to be one of many with these stories where they get snake bitten. People are going to be losing hundreds of thousands of dollars. There's going to be Canadian lives absolutely crushed and destroyed because the interest rates flare up, whether that's from a variable mortgage or if you go to renew your mortgage. There's a bunch of mortgage renewals coming in 2025. So this story is going to be heard over and over and over come towards the end of this year and next year. If you follow my channel for any period of time here, you know I used to manage my ex-wife's notary office. My advice, do not ever get involved in those bidding wars. Maybe you want to go 20,000 over asking, but you don't go into the hundreds. The reality of this scenario is whoever sold that house got really rich off something they shouldn't have. They essentially sold a $250,000 house for $665,000. So we look forward on the market now. What can one expect? Well, it depends. If Justin Trudeau stays in power, the prices will keep going up because he will continue to bring in millions of people. Once Pierre Poilievre wins, the prices are probably going to go down. I don't know how aggressive he's going to be with taking actions to reduce values, because when you reduce values, you also make people angry. So I don't know if he will just work to stabilize or if he will work to actively push the values down. Cutting the immigration rates, as well as foreign students, foreign workers, and corporate ownership and foreign buyers of houses would absolutely squash the market and get that house that she bought for $665,000 would likely go back down to $350,000, $400,000 in probably a short period of time. Right now, that house is currently listed for just over $500,000, which is likely the bank trying to sell it at that price. The next story here is a man from Victoria who put a down deposit on a pre-sale that was 3 years out. And because this was 3 years ago and things have gone absolutely bonkers since, there's not a good ending to this story.
Behind me, I bought a condo September 29, 2021 5% down, $26,995. 3 months later, Tiff Macklem started raising rates. A year later, I find out that 75% of my deposit was lost in a scheme. Greg Martel, shop your own mortgage. 75% of my down payment gone. Condo second from the end here. 2 bedroom, 2 bath, 2 parking, it's got a pantry. Went back to my second job, working 70 hours a week since about June last year. Tried to get the condo reassigned. Was told that I only needed 30,000 down. Additional rates went up. And then the second letter from my second job wasn't good enough, and I was told I needed $150,000 down by January 15th. So I got the letter rewritten to reflect exactly what I was doing. Working 70 hours a week, 30 hours there, 40 hours my regular job. Then I only needed 85,000 down, and they moved the date from July 23rd to October 15th to December 15th, February 15th, which is my birthday, 47th birthday. I can kiss this goodbye along with my deposit, $27,000 down the drain. I've got nothing else to say, but at least it snowed this morning. That's all I got.
These stories are absolutely heartbreaking and soul-crushing. So what's the difference in this story compared to the first one? The first one, she had a variable mortgage, so that goes up with the increase in the mortgage rate. This guy, though, is a pre-sale, so you get qualified at the beginning, and he qualified for the mortgage at the beginning, but then when you actually go to complete, you have to re-qualify at the current rate. Because Justin Trudeau brought in around 2.5 to 3 million more people by the time this condo unit went to complete, the rates had gone up so drastically because of his inflationary spending. Justin Trudeau has spent more money than all other prime ministers combined. That's where all this inflation is coming from, thus increasing the bank rate. So it's not only the immigration, but also that. And Justin Trudeau's hitting us on both fronts. He really wants us to just absolutely suffer. So when you put a down payment on this, and I think he said 27,000, that essentially holds your unit and pays off 27,000, but you don't get that back. It's non-refundable. And I think that should be illegal. I don't think that should be something, in cases like this, I don't think that that's right. That's not right. And I've heard numerous stories in Toronto of people putting $150,000 down on a house. It goes to complete. It's a house worth 2 million or 2.5 million, and people are walking away. They're like, you can keep the 150 because we're going to go bankrupt if we have to try to complete on that mortgage. And it's just, it seems like theft. It's just straight up theft. So I'd recommend anyone who's looking to buy a property in Canada, I would not do the pre-sale thing where you have to put money down. That is just way too risky with Justin Trudeau. He's proven he's just unhinged and unstable with how he runs our country. And if for some reason he rigs the election and he wins again, we will for years not have a stable economy that will keep tanking. I want to highlight what's the most shocking thing about this story is the rates were going up so fast that he was asked to put down an additional $30,000, then $50,000, then $150,000 down payment. This is how bonkers this is. I don't know how many houses Justin Trudeau owns, but his dad obviously was prime minister and had millions. So if he went and bought 20, 30 houses, yeah, even just by putting on 10-year mortgages that are fixed and paying off half the houses and then getting renters in there, he could probably buy 50 houses, become prime minister, jacking immigration rates, spend a ton of money, thus inflating the economy, thus driving inflation through the roof, sending the value of those 50 houses skywards. I think for full transparency at this point, we need to know exactly how many houses all the ministers of the Liberal Party own. No one in their right mind would do this to their own citizens. Either way, stay cautious, do some research on the market before you buy in this market because it's way too dangerous. Hope you guys are doing well. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.